First of all, thanks for joining. So today we'll see about the agentic AI, how we can start creating our first agent till the more advanced concept. So we'll not go much deeper into each of the stack because 2 hours are not enough, but we'll cover or we'll touch most of the main concept or most of the hands-on during our this 2 hour workshop. So I'll start with basic. Okay, what is agentic AI and difference between agentic AI and generative AI, and what are the different agentic frameworks, and then we'll deep dive into the Google agentic framework, that is a Google ADK. Okay, so let's. So everyone knows. I think whoever joined knows about me. I'm Google GDE based out of India, and I'm fully certified in Google Cloud and currently working as a enterprise cloud architect along with the SADA, which is one of the premier partner along with the Google Cloud. And also I manage the YouTube channels, which is TechTrapture, whole on soul on the Google Cloud tech stack and the AI data engineering and AML stack. Okay, so mainly we'll start with AI. What is the main the confusion we are having, or what is the AI or difference between AI, GenAI, and agentic AI? So there is a very thin line between all of these three, but AI is a broader subset. You can see the AI is the main ecosystem which involves your ML, machine learning, your generative AI, and then agentic AI. So each of these have the different the I would say the response structure, different output structures, and the purpose of using these different AI frameworks are different. So many will talk first what is the artificial intelligence in simple terms. AI is the task it performs the task which requires a human intelligence, which is the primary the goal of this AI. And here you can take the example, okay, the Google Maps prediction, the fastest route, or Netflix recommendation, or simple FAQ bot, or the AI based spam filtering. So these are the basic AI tech stack, and it gives you the output based on the input data. Okay, so this is the very common terms AI, and it involves the output type of predictions, the classifications or the scores or recommendation. These kinds of outputs are available in the AI. When we talk about the Gen AI, it's basically creating the new content from your the text prompt. So it can create the textual output, it can create images, audio, or video. So currently the most common and most famous is the generative AI. You are using the Chat GPT or Copilot, or there is Google Gemini. All are the generative AI where you can just put your text prompt and it will generate a
Hey,
new content.
Gabasa.
Okay, Hamish, maybe you can go on mute.
Sorry.
Yeah. So you can create new content from your prompts. That is the mainly GenAI. In GenAI, the examples are ChatGPT, Gemini, or Midjourney, DALI for creating images. So all these are the GenAI. And the third and the most trending is the agentic AI. So agentic AI uses GenAI definitely, but it use GenAI to do the certain task. Okay, so it, let's say we'll see one example. If you have to do a certain task using the LLM can just generate the content for you, but it will not perform any specific task. So example, let's say you want to check the nearest hotel for you, and you have to book a reservation nearest hotel. So your LLM can give you the nearest hotel, but it will not go and reserve table for you, or it will not make a payment for you, or it will not call the restaurant and book your hotel. So these are not the LLM task or Gen AI. So there you need agentic AI. You can use a multi-agent system. One agent will go and check the hotel, one agent will make a payment, one agent, let's say, send an email for notification, one agent will check the calendar, which is your free times. So you can create the multi-agent systems, and this is the agentic AI. So it is combine a reasoning from the LLM, and it will use a tool. So tool you will see in more detail what is tool, how we use a tool along with the agentic AI, and how to combine. So this is having a specific goal. Your agentic AI is always having a specific goal. When it comes to a chat GPT or a GenAI, there is no goal. These are LLM, so you can ask anything and it will give you the information. So there is no specific goal. For the agentic AI, there is specific task, specific goal, and these agents work together to achieve that specific task. Okay, so this is the basic difference. We don't need to go much deeper to understanding the difference, but just to have the clarity, the difference between AI, GenAI, and agentic AI. So all are under the broader umbrella of AI, and within that we are having ML of predicting or predictive analysis or recommendation classification. And in GenAI, we are having the ChatGPT, Gemini, and then the agentic AI, which also use the Gen AI. So this is the broader term. So now we'll talk about the agentic AI today. And in agentic AI, Google ADK is not the only framework. So the most famous are the LangChain and LangGraph. After that, we are having the Crew AI. This also provide the powerful agentic framework. There is a Microsoft AutoGen also. If someone from the Azure background, they might be aware. So Azure also provide the agentic framework. And then we are having the agent development kit provided by Google. So all these are agentic framework currently. These interact with LLM and do the certain task or just create a workflow to automate the task which requires the human intervention on the human intelligence. Okay, so we are going to discuss about ADK in this. So if you like get any terms like LangChain, LangGraph, QAI, AutoGen, so these are also the agentic framework, not the Google. It is from the different vendor. Okay, so we'll deep dive into the agentic AI, which is the agent development kit from the Google. So if you have any question, just raise hand anytime. I we can see the screen, so I'll just try to answer. So now we'll go deep into the ADK and I will show the demo as well from creating the first agent and how we can create our first agent. So let's take, before understanding what is a Google ADK, let's take an example. You are having LLM. So this LLM can be your Cloud desktop, it can be a Llama, or it can be OpenAI ChatGPT or a Google Gemini. And I just want to do, okay, so just the same example, book a dinner reservation for me at the nearby restaurant during my free time. You are giving this prompt to your LLM. Your LLM will not able to perform this task because it is not having that context, what is your current location, or it does not understand during my free time. It means what is your free time. So it does not have that understanding what are your nearby restaurant. But it can be done if you provide your nearby restaurant data to LLM, if you provide your calendar, like how to get your free time, and the booking table, it has to book a table in restaurant. So these three tasks your LLM cannot do alone. But let's say if you give some additional context, what is called additional context? Let's say if you give LLM access to the Google Maps, it can check the nearby restaurant. If you give access to your calendar, it can check your free time. If you give access to, let's say, the Zomato or any the booking app, it can do a booking for you. So using agentic AI, that's the main thing we do, that we provide access to the external system through the tools. Okay, we can create one tool to access Google Maps, we can create one tool to access calendar, we can create one tool to access Zomato. And using this, it will connect to each of the system. First it will get the nearby restaurant, then it will get your free time from calendar, and then it will book a table. Now it is, there is also the A2P also, you might heard, agent to payment protocol is also there. So agent payment protocol, I think, so that is also came up now, so you can make a payment also from that, from your agent AI. So this is the whole thing. But when you give LLM access to the external systems and it create a workflow, the whole system we can call it as agent AI, and it can be done using a Google ADK. So here what we need mainly, so you need LLM model, you need external sources. These are the external sources: Google Maps, Calendar, Zomato. You need the orchestration. Okay, first it has to pull the data from Google Maps to find a nearby restaurant. Then it has to pull your free time, and then it has to pull and go and book a table in Zomato. So this has to be performed in a sequential manner. That is called the orchestration. So we need orchestrations layer. We need a front end and back end. So because your back end APIs will connect to your external system, but your user should interact, because your normal user will not go and write a code. They should be having some chat interface. So it requires the front end and back end. So it requires a session. Let's say suppose I type the message, okay, book a restaurant for me, and then you have to modify that, or you have to also need access to your previous chats. There need session is to be stored. So ADK stores the sessions as well, and then you have to deploy it so anyone from the internet can access and not from the local. So this whole ecosystem we can do using a Google ADK. Okay, so ADK provide all these things, and that's why it is called as a framework and not only the single service. Okay, when it is single service, it can be, let's say, LLM or the cloud run, it can be a single service. When we are talking about the framework, it means Google has given the things, we have to bake it like how, whatever we like, we have to bake it that way. We will combine models, we'll combine the external source, we will orchestrate the way we want. We will create our own front end and back end. Let's say if you want in Java, we can create in Java. If you want in Python, we can create in Python. We can manage our own sessions and we can deploy it wherever we want. So the very important thing about ADK is it's not only work only with the Google Gemini. Let's say you want to create ADK agent with the OpenAI, you can create it with the OpenAI also. If you want to create with Cloud Desktop, you can use any LLM model along with the ADK. Okay, you can easily check the documentation available, like what models are supported and how you can configure with them. I'll show you the demo from how we'll create our first agent, how to create a model. So this is about ADK. So this is the simple term. What is ADK? ADK is flexible modular framework for developing and deploying AI agent. Why it is called as a framework? I mentioned because it comes with a lot of flexibility. It is a model agnostic. It means you can use any model, not required. It should be a Gemini model or Google's model. You can use the OpenAI ChatGPT model, or you can use the Claude Desktop or any other LLM models also you can use. And it also having the deployment agnostic. It means you can deploy it on Cloud Run, or you can deploy it on virtual machine, or you can deploy it on the GK cluster, or outside the Google Cloud also you can deploy. And Google also provided the inbuilt service for deploying agent, that is the agent engine. So there are a lot of flexibility and it is completely free. So your ADK framework is free. You have to pay for how many LLMs calls you are using when you are using the LLM models, and you have to pay where you are deploying. So that thing you have to pay. But actual the ADK is completely open source. So you can use it without any cost. And this is their whole ecosystem what they provide, let's say, the orchestrations layer, which is the main brain. It provide the memory. So we will see all these things in detail, no need to complicate the stuff now. This is whole about ADK. Okay, so before going into the tool, I'll just go to my VS code and I'll just show you how we can create our first agent. So let me know once my screen is visible. Okay, thanks. I'll just open a folder. Okay, so first thing, whenever we are working with the Google ADK, the Python libraries we have to install. So let me check if I already installed. Okay, so I think it's a Google Cloud ADK. Let me check. Oh, I missed install. Okay, so we need the libraries to be installed, and first we'll create our agent from the scratch. So earlier we have to create all file structure and all, but now recently they created the inbuilt command to create your whole folder structure. So let's say I will just type ADK just to see if it is installed, and I will see what are the commands available. My screen is well visible, right? It's not very small font.
No, it's visible, Vishal.
Okay, yeah, thanks, Pallav. Okay, so you can see now in ADK, these are around 5 to 7, 7 to 8 commands are there. Okay, and you can see API server is to start fast API servers. This is new again, testing tools for ADK. Then create, so creates new app, then deploy, eval set, run, and web. So we'll use create because earlier we have to create whole folder structure, but now we can use this ADK create command, and I will just give the name. Let me first clear the screen. Okay, so now I have to create my first agent. So I'll simply ADK create my first agent. Okay, so it will ask the model now, which model. Okay, so you if you need Gemini 2.5 Flash or other models, I'll go with the Gemini 2.5 Flash. Okay, someone just asked to enlarge. Let me just go to the setting. Okay, terminal. Is it visible now? Hope it is visible. Oh, let me just do 16. Okay, so I think it is visible. So we'll first go with, let's say, the Gemini 2.5 Flash. Okay, so don't have API key, create one in Google AI Studio. So let's say you have two options. First, either you can create in the AI Studio or you can use a Vertex AI. For now, I'll just create from the AI Studio. So I'll show you the both the option. Okay, so you can create API key from here. Create API key. You can give the name, let's say, test, and you can select your project and you can create your key. Or for now, let's say I'll give some dummy value. Okay, and it created the folder structure for me. So you can see now it created a folder structure. So first is init.py, which makes this as a whole module, and then this is your main file agent.py, and here is your .env. So currently there are two options. One is Google GenAI use Vertex AI. Let's say if you're putting 0 here, then you need a API key. Okay, so let's say I will use API key. So I'll create API key. Okay, so API key is created. I'll copy and I'll paste here. So my API key is available. I will tell you the difference between 0 and 1. I also need a project. So let me get the project. So if you give what all things you required, you can easily get in the .env Kickstart. So if you see here, you can see here, build your agent or get started. Here you will see what you required. So let's say ADK create my agent. What should be the content of your file? Set API key. Okay, so all these details you will get here. Okay, so we have the Google Cloud location project. Let me put TT Labs C01. So I saved this detail and now running agent ADK web. So ADK web will start the web UI for you along with the backend, and we will see. Let me just, yeah. So this is the web UI. Okay. So whenever you're starting, you can see this is my first agent. This is your web UI. So let's see if it work or it gives any variable error. If your environment.txt file is incorrect, it will throw an error. Okay, so it giving the response and all the API calls. You can easily see here what API calls it is making. Okay, now it is just the helpful assistant to user questions. So this description and instructions are very important. So currently answer user question based of your knowledge. Let's say if I ask, tell me about latest India news. Okay, so if it is having that latest data, it will tell. Okay, so it is asking, okay, the most of up to the minute news, I would recommend checking the Indian news source such as the Times of India, Hindustan Times, the Hindu. So it is asking because it does not have the latest data. I mentioned latest. So in that case, now it is having LLM knowledge, but it does not have any external sources. When I talk about external sources, let's say These are the external sources, but I can just ground this my first agent with the Google search. We will do that. Before that, just play with this instruction. So based on your instruction, your agent will behave. So let's say if I ask here, always ask user their name before answering questions. Okay, if I asking this agent, or if I are putting this instruction, and if I run this again, so your agent will always first ask for the name. I'll just create new session. Let me reload. So let's see. Hello, what's your name? So earlier response you can see it was different, but now it is asking what's your name. So it behaves whatever the instructions you are giving. Let's say now you will ask, always ask their name and mobile number. Okay, so I'll just create new session. Okay, may I know your name? I haven't restarted the server. It has to update the instructions. Okay, so let me just go and check now. See, now it is asking, could you please get me with your help and your name and mobile number. So whatever the instruction you give, your agent behavior is along that. So it is not like very strict rules that it will not respond without name. It will respond. Okay. So this is just the instructions you are giving so that your agent will understand some context. So when this is helpful, let's say you are creating agent which will give the information about the news, then you can ask, okay, you are instruction like you are a news agent and give information only about the news. Okay, now let's say I will ask something. You are math expert and you help only with math queries. Okay, and I say do not answer anything else. Okay, so now these are my instructions. I will just go back and run again. I am focusing more on this part because where here is the more basic thing start for the any agentic AI, not only the Google ADK. Okay, so let me start new sessions. Okay, so I can help you with the math related queries. I'll just ask some question I'm asking. So it is clearly denying. I can help only with the math problem. So we haven't set any rules. We haven't added any kind of the coding logic. Based on the instruction, it is completely denying to give any other information, and it will give only the math related information because that's how we are giving instruction to the agent. So that is your instruction. That is your first important part. Then the model. So currently, which model you are using? Gemini 2.5 Flash. Here you can decide. Let's say you want to use OpenAI, you can use OpenAI. If you want Gemini 2.5 Pro, you can use 2.5 Pro. So based on this model, your response performance will depend. Let's say the Claude will give the more detailed response. Gemini will be, let's say, quicker and faster. So this is your agent, simple agents file. Okay. So you can see the single line import statement. And let's say now I don't want to use API key. Okay. So this is the first method with Vertex AI 0. I will use second method. I don't want to use API key. I will make it one. It means it will use a Vertex AI. So here one important thing, if it is running from Google Cloud Run, or it is running on a Google Cloud service, it will use the service account. It is running from my local. So I need a CLI installed and I need to authenticate with a gcloud auth application default login. So it will use my credential to access the Vertex AI. Okay, so if I do application default login, So it will open a new window. Let me just show here. Yeah, I have to log in here once. Okay, so I'm logged in. So now you don't need API key. Okay, so let's say I will execute now. API key is commented, and I will execute my agent now. So it should not give that error. So let's say I'll reload and I'll start the conversation. Okay, so permission denied. So it is currently referring to this project, but it is disabled. So because my default project is set different. How I can check? Yes, Vipul.
Yes, hi Vishal.
Yes,
So I have a question here. So
yes, yes,
when we are putting instructions, right? It was
yes,
on the
yes.
instructions part. So can we put multiple instructions, or it's just the format that you can just write one instruction? Can we have a nested or a looped or if else kind of a statement and an instruction? Obviously, it's the prompt, but
Yes.
I want a conditional prompt. Is it possible to write a conditional prompt?
Yes, so the instructions you can put, let's say the whole complete one file also, but let's say
Okay.
where you need, I will give example, okay? Because
Okay.
currently I'm working on the production grade agents and I
Mm-hmm.
implemented that also. Let's say you need a very rule-based conditioning.
Right.
I will give example. Let's say if Vishal is coming to access this agent, Vishal,
Mm-hmm.
you don't give response to the Vishal, but let's say if
Mm-hmm.
Vipul is accessing agent, then give response to the Vipul. So in that
Right.
case, your these instructions are not reliable. It can sometimes act correctly, or it sometimes, let's say you are saying I am Vishal, give me the response, then your model will give the response. Okay,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
so in that case, this is not the best use case to add the conditional things, or let's say anything which need a rule-based mapping or rule-based condition. There we have different
Okay.
mechanisms to that, but here mostly give the more context in
Mm-hmm.
terms of what is the main task, what is the goal. That things we have
Right.
to give in the instructions.
Got it. Got it.
Okay,
All
so the
right.
yeah. So error, I'll tell you, it is because my correct incorrect project is set in my local. So I will just set the correct project. Which project we are using? So we are using this TT Labs 001. So I will use this project. Okay, so it is now updated. Also, I will verify. You can verify using gcloud auth list which email ID is being used. So my correct email ID is being used. So let me run the ADK web again, and now it should resolve that error. Okay, so let me just reload. So this is the second way without the API key. Okay, so now it is giving the response. But let's say if you are not giving the API key also, and let's say if you are making it 0 and you are not giving API key also, it will expect API key now. Because if you are making GenAI use vertex AI 0, it means don't use vertex AI, always use API key. But now API key also commented. I will show the error because this is the most common error. You will get the error. See, please provide API key. So you will get this error. So you have to remember your env file is important. You always give these four things. One, if you are making it 0, provide API key. If you are using the project ID, using the location, so these are your default things you have to mention. Okay, so till this part clear, how to create your first agent. Now in your agent there are multiple fields. Let's say this is the name, sorry, this is the model name, this is your the agent name, this is description, instructions. There will be like sub agent, the multiple fields are there. What fields are supported, you can find in the document. I will go with that later. Like each agent team require which parameters, that you will easily see in the document, but these are the common one, or these are the required one. There are some optional which may not required, which you can use. There are some thinking capacity. Okay, so let's say the 2 Pro is having the inbuilt thinking capacity, or how much research your LLM should do before giving the answers. So there are some thinking budget. All these things you can change in your uh, the parameters. Okay, so there are, these are the basic parameters. Now I was talking about the tools. Let's say now I will just remove this prompt and I will just make it your helpful assistant. Yes, Vinay.
Hey, hi Vishal. So I have two questions. So one was you were mentioning about on restriction on user side, right? On the response side.
Yes.
So how are we going to achieve that? So do we have certain restrictions done on this agent side itself, or is
No.
it something different? Mhm.
Uh, yeah, so there are different callbacks. So you can put the callbacks before agent, after agent. Let's say before your request go to the agent, you have to write some Python function to check the access. So you can write that Python function. If that Python function is successful, then only request go to the agent. After agent response and before going back to the user, there also you can add some callbacks. Okay, if the agent response is this one, always check if it is having let's say sensitive data like password or API key. Your Python function will scan that. If nothing is there, then only response will go to the users. So each and every step you can have that callbacks or hooks within the ADK.
Okay, okay, yeah, got it. So the second question is,
Mhm.
I think you are using an API key, right? And also
Yes.
the Vertex A enablement. So is it both need to be added? And if yes, so
I
does this API key exist with security vulnerabilities? Because
yeah,
we are
yeah.
exposing that API key, right?
Correct, correct. So this is API key use is mostly, let's say if you are using the Gemini with let's say the third party agentic AI, you can use this. Okay, the best way, if you are going to deploy from the cloud run or virtual machines or the GKE, you don't need API key. You can directly use service account access. But I just
Yeah.
wanted to show you the one option where let's say the local development. Okay, not every developer will have full access, so their developer can assign with one API key and they can use for the development.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. But I don't think so. The API key
Best
using is
Yeah,
best
yeah. Best
option at
practices go
second level.
with the yeah. Best practices go with the always one, and your Vertex AI service credentials.
Okay. Yeah. Got it. Thank you.
Okay, now I just make it the helpful assistant, and I will show you how we can, let's say, add a few things here. Let me first check if it is correct now. So if it is response is getting, then it means on the configuration it's correct. Okay, fine. Now let me show you the tools. Okay. So one important concept in all agentic AI tools, it's not only again, so it's like a cloud. Okay. So in cloud, the concepts are same if you go in Google Cloud, Azure Cloud, or AWS, same in agentic framework. The concepts are very similar. Now in the tools, the concept is there in LangChain, LangGraph, as well as others agentic frameworks as well. So the tools, what is tools? So let's say it's like special ability given to your GenAI agent or the AI agent. So now we are talking about our agent could not give the latest news. Okay, give me the latest news about India. So it could not give because this is referring to the LLM and your LLM will not have the latest data. Currently, these are grounded. So you can, it is suggesting us for most accurate and up-to-date information. Go and check this. You can say the sites or these news or the search. Okay, so for that we have to ground it or we have to give some additional resources. So this can be your Google search, this can be your the news website, anything. So how you will do that? So let's the agent do the action and interact with the world. So for that we need a tool. So your tools can be each tool is having built for one clear task. Each task often involves working with external systems. So I'll give you example here. So now let's say you want your agent to query some data from database. So here your agent can understand what to query, but there should be one tool who can go and connect to your database. Let's say you want to create a GitHub repository. then you have to create one tool which will create a GitHub repository. Let's say then you will can easily ask your agent, create repository for me. So it will go and create repository for you in GitHub. So that's how it will work. But there are three different types of tools. One is like function tool, which can be your direct Python or Java function. Then the built-in tools, which is important again, where you can use the Google search or BigQuery or RAG or the Vertex AI search within the Google Cloud, or the third-party tools. It can be your LangChain tool, it can be Crew AI. So all these tools you can use along with the Google ADK. So if I go into the example, it will be a more easy. So I'll just open few agents, how tool works. So I have all these sample available in my GitHub repository. You can check that anytime. So these are available. Okay, so let's say this example, I'll just uncomment this dot example. So it remained like dot env. Okay, so this is what my agent, an example agent will answer the queries. You are helpful assistant that provide information based on the user queries. Now, this is the simple agent. Currently, there is a tool Google search I'm using, but this is commented. Okay, so what I will do, I'll just first run my ADK agent. Okay, so I will select my first a lot of agents, but currently we are using this one. So again, I will ask, help me with latest news in India for, let's say today's date is 8th of November. Okay, so let's see what response we'll get. I'm unable to provide you the latest news for India 8 November. I do not have the capacity to predict the future because your LLM model is still in the past date. It trained on the data in the past. It does not have direct access to your internet. Okay, so that's why we need a tool. Now I'm using a basic tools, very simple tools. From Google ADK tools, import Google search, and I am just writing tools equal to Google search. Now this is inbuilt tools. As we discussed, there are three types of tool. One is your function tool, then you are having inbuilt tools, and third is your third party tools. So we are using inbuilt tools. Google search is one of inbuilt tools. Now I just using inbuilt tool. Your model will understand when to use the tools. Okay, so I'll just go back and I'll just open in a new tab just to understand the difference. Now your this ADK agent is having access to the tool, which is a Google search, and I will ask the same question. So it should go and search to the Google search and it will give you the result. Okay, you got the result. November 8, 2015. All result you can see these are from the latest news. And it will give you the terms also which it used to search on a Google. So it used this search term on a Google. So this is the use of first inbuilt tool. So you can usually use this inbuilt tool. Let's say we want to use the BigQuery inbuilt tool. So that is the most interesting and the commonly used the use case. So let's say I am having this project. Okay, and in this project I am having BigQuery. So let's say I'm having too many data sets here. Okay, what I will do, I'll just go to the BigQuery agent. So here I'm having a lot of agent. I'll go to BigQuery agent. Let me first check if env file is, yeah, env is there. Again, here how to write a BigQuery tool. This is inbuilt tools, tool BigQuery tool set, and you have to add these credentials. So what I am doing here, I am doing application default credentials. So it will use my credentials. Okay, and you have to write the instantaneous BigQuery toolset. Why it is called toolset, I will explain once we interact with the users. So these two things, this is the simple configuration. Now you can ask instructions. You are a data science agent with access to the several BigQuery tools. Make use of these tools to answer the user questions. Okay, so I will use this tool now. So it's already running. So I will go and ask. Okay, so I'll go one by one, more details, what it can do with BigQuery. This is the most interesting use case. Can you list down all dataset in my project? If I won't give the project name, it will ask. So I will give. Okay, so it should give the list of all datasets available. Okay, so it is calling the one tool. If I click on this symbol, you see all these tools are available, and that is why you can see this is called as a tool set. Okay, because it is not a single tool, it is set of all the tools. So that's why it is called as a tool set. So currently it called this tool from this tool set and connected to BigQuery and got the list of data set. Okay, so now I will go, let's say any one data set, df demo. I had some data flow data there, so I will ask, give me list of tables in df demo dataset. It will call the list table IDs now. See, if I click on this list table IDs, so it got me the list. So it is having all these tables: employee, employee stream error record. Now I will go in more detail. In my employee table, I'll show you the data in df demo. Let's say which is the df demo. Yeah. So there is employee table. Let's say employee ID, first name. Okay, so one important thing here, if you are giving the descriptions here, it will easily understand and it will not ask you the cross questions. Currently, I haven't given any description like what first name belongs to, what last name belongs to. So each column, if it is having description, your model will understand in a more better way. I'll show you example. Let's say I will ask my model a question. Give me employee name who is having highest salary. Okay, so it might ask a cross question because there is no name column and I am referring name. So it is converting. Okay, I need to know the project ID to run the query. So we are talking about the same, right? So we haven't given the detail salary from employee table. So it should not ask again, but we haven't given the, at least we need employee because it remember the session history. See, it asks the question. If it is having the description, it will not ask this cross question. Now it is asking the column which contains employee name. Okay, so the column is first name, which having, let's say, the employee name. So now it will go and create the SQL. You have not specified which column contains the salary information. So let me check. So it is salary column. So it is salary column. Okay, now it is calling the execute SQL. This tool it is calling. If you see here, the employee with the highest salary is Mike. Now I will ask, what is salary of Mike? It should not execute the tool now. It is executing. It means it is not storing the conversations. Here is the list of salaries because there are more person with the Mike. There are multiple employees named Mike. Here is the list of their salaries. So it is reading the data, but it is missing the context. So more the context or the more data you give in your table descriptions or schema, your column names are meaningful, then it will convert your natural language into SQL. And if you see, if I go to the history, the project history, I think it is, change something. I should see the project history here, so I can see the query it executed. Okay, fine. So it will convert your natural language into the query. And if I show you the request and response every time, yeah, let's say if I click on this execute SQL, so you will see all the request and response. So query, you can see the first name Mike, it executed this query. And what was the response here? So it was the response. So highest salary, try to execute. It find the salary for each employee and then it calculated the highest salary. Okay. For each, you can see this ADK UI is provided by Google just for the development and not for the production. So you can see the flow, you can see the request, what requests went, what was the response. So all details, you can see how much time it took each of these operations. So you can see in the ADK UI. So this is the inbuilt tool where you can connect a BigQuery. How agent got access of BigQuery? So that I initially mentioned, I am using the default credentials, and in the agent file I have given the details here. Application default credential, Google or default, it means it will use the credentials I did in the first step using the application default login. So it will use my system credential which are stored in my system. If you are using from Cloud Run, it will, if you deploy this agent on Cloud Run, it will use the Cloud Run service account credentials. If let's say you don't want to use your own credential, then you can use the service account key, but that is not recommended. So Shardul, this is clear now. So this was about the inbuilt tools. So in inbuilt tools there are, we spoke about Google search is a one tool, then BigQuery is a one tool. So tool is nothing but it will help your LLM model to get external data. Okay, so if you connect to Google search, it will get you data from Google search. If you connect to BigQuery, it will get data from BigQuery, and then your LLM will summarize, and your answers can be in a different format based on the prompt. Currently, it is just giving me the comma separated answer. Let's say if you want a JSON separated, you can use that also in the instructions. Okay. So it depends upon your instruction, what type of answer and in what format you need. You just need one liner, or if you need more explanatory answer, it will give based on your prompt. So this was about a BigQuery tool. Let's talk about the third uh, option here is the third party tool. So in third party, we are having LangChain and Crew AI. Let me check. I'm having LangChain agent running. We can learn to develop or draft script for agent.py. So I think it is creating for you. Agent.py file is created for you, but the instructions, what instruction you need to give, that is something based on the your requirement. And so there is concept, if you heard about the prompt engineering, what should be the instruction, how should be the instructions. So So there is one concept. So there are four important things which you have to give. We call it as a persona. First, give the task, what task it has to give. Then second is about the persona. Like always ask agent that you are a science agent or you are a math agent. So give some personality to your agent. That is one thing. Give the task. You have to give the task. Okay, that okay, you have to perform this task. Then always give the example. So you can give the example also, that okay, if user asks this kind of question, give this response. So example also help you to write a prompt, and then you can give the citation, what should be included in the answer. Let's say sometimes it is running on the doc, then you have to give the doc link. You have to give some BigQuery table reference, you can give that also in the output. So all these are part of we can say as a prompt engineering. So more you go deeper into the prompt engineering, more better performance you can develop for your agent. Yes, people.
Yeah. So this question is regarding BigQuery.
Mhm.
So if let's say I want to do analysis, let's say I want there's there's sales by city, so I want to see average sales by city. So can I give that kind of
Yes, yes, it
prompts,
gets.
and then after that
Mhm.
ask agent to maybe
Hmm.
give me a CSV output or create a table in dataset in the backend. I mean, because to be able to do enterprise level things, you can't just ask basic questions, right? You have to
Correct.
make sure you get the output in a CSV format, or maybe create a new table in the data set. So is it a use case which is possible?
Yes, it is possible. So currently, if I tell you I wish to add one part, so here you can see I have written one thing here. Write mode is blocked. So currently I am using my agent only to read from BigQuery. Because let's say if my agent misunderstood something and we asked, okay, delete only employee Mike's data, but there are 100 Mike's employee, right? So it will delete all data. So that's why it is recommended at least keep your write action on the database is blocked. So do not do write operation on the database using the agent. Always try to do a read operations to get some data, a group by, or let's say you want to get some insight on the data that is available, you can do that on the data. But write we specifically blocked, so it will not do any write operation. But let's say if you want to allow it, you can allow it and test the things. Okay, create a new table with this. So that is the query, right? We can see creating new table is nothing but the SQL query, and it is having the SQL tool. If you talk, yeah.
Okay.
So
Yep.
you can see this will create this SQL tool also and
Okay.
ask data
All right.
insights. Say we can ask the data inside. I'll try it now. Let me first check the schema for this employee ID, and we are having country. So let's say I will ask using the country column. Where is that now? Can you give me country wise employee count using employee table? Now I will give more detailed prompt so it will not ask cross question. Employee table in DF demo dataset. You can use country column to get countries. Give me output in CSV format. Okay, so let's see, because it's more on how creative you can do with the agent, what kind of instructions you can give. Now let's say the what SQL it is running. Yeah, you can see it given the CSV format.
Right. So it won't give you a file, but as in prompt output, right? It won't create a
Yes, it
file.
allow also. I haven't checked. Let's see if you ask. I'm not
Okay.
sure if
Okay.
it will give me the file. But if you are dealing with the API, currently we are using this ADK web UI, right? So it cannot directly give the CSV file, but we can easily do that with the once we start using the API version.
Right. Right. All right. Okay
Yeah.
then. Thank you.
So this is on the BigQuery. So there is one more is a third party. So third party tool is Vinay. You are having any questions?
Yeah, yeah, Vishal.
Yeah.
So, apart from this BigQuery tool, right? BigQuery,
Mhm.
whatever you're using. So, have you implemented anything using the third-party tool like LangChain and or
Yeah.
RAG agent?
Yes, RAG agent within the BigQuery or within the Vertex AI RAG agent we implemented. The custom RAG agent also we implemented. But if you talk
Okay.
about the LangChain
Mm-hmm.
or QAI, I have community tools just for a sample. So let's say QAI we using which tool we are using, the website scraping. Yeah, I'll show you. This is a good example. So there is a scrapper tool from QAI, and what I am doing, let's say I am checking the Google Cloud release note. Okay, so let's say there is every day or a week Google publishes their releases. So it will give the release note what is the published on, let's say, 6th of November, all these release note. And I will use this agent to check the QA agent, right? So let's say I will go to the QA agent, but it will not work. I have to uncomment this dot exam. Yeah, and hope I am having requirement.txt. Let me install these QA tools, these two things.
Because I'm having some a task kind of thing which need to be done using this LangChain and also the RAG agent.
So it
So
is easily doable, I would say, because more, let's say, if it can be doable using the Python or API, you have to just integrate with the agent.
okay, yeah, and also the expectation is like TypeScript, but I think you are using most of the Python only, I believe, right?
TypeScript is for backend, you are asking?
Yeah, yes, yes, for backend only.
Java
Yes.
is supported. I'm not sure, but Java is supported. Even the, I think last a couple of days back they released support for Go also. So now Go also supported.
Okay, okay,
So let's say if you're here, you can check the support for languages. C, Python, Go, Java. So these are currently available support.
okay.
Let me start or check the QA if configuration. Okay, some error is there in QA. Okay, so this is hard coded. Let me just directly type Gemini. Okay, let me start. Yeah. So I'm here to help you with the Google Cloud changes. Now, good thing here is this is community tool, and you can use any site to scrap. I'm using Google Cloud Release Note. You have any specific site? Now I'll simply ask, give me all changes related to Google Cloud in November 1st to November, let's say 6th in 2025 using the release note. Okay. So it should go to this release note and it should give me all these changes and thoughts related or whatever happened in this from 1st of November till the 6th of November. I can give the latest changes from Google Cloud Native. Yes. Okay. Now it is going to this tool AI which we are using. Okay. Check Google Cloud Release Note tools, and then it is getting us this data and it will convert into the natural language. So it based on your format, let's say you specify. So it has given all the changes. And let's say if I ask any changes related to GKE, yeah. Now important thing you understood here. So now there was no call again back. So let's say if you ask this question, the first question, it went and asked QA to get the data from here. But if you ask your follow-up questions, right? So you ask question, okay, is there anything related to GKE? Then this data was already stored in the context. So this was the whole data stored in the result earlier response. Okay. So this is in the same session. So this whole data is in the same session. So your follow-up question again, not called a crew AI tool. It just went to this tool and it get from the context itself. Now let's say I ask what was the change on October 23rd. So it should not call the tool again because the data is there in the context. It's again sometimes it goes, sometimes it, but ideally if data is not there. And one more thing, there are different sessions. See, it gave the response from the context itself. It did not call the tool again because this is, and if the I ask same question in the new session, it will not answer because the data is specific to that session only. So it will go and call the tool. So it will not give the answer, right? Because data was in your other sessions. So data is maintained across the sessions. So this session, your data is there. The previous question had some answers, and here it is called as the context. I mean, a lot of things are in the context, your sessions, your state, uh, your user metadata, a lot of things are there. Yes, Pallav, the same thing, how to handle the context. So for handling the context, we are having, let's say, the multiple thing per session. One thing is to have the persistent sessions. So whatever we are using, these are not persistent, these are in-memory sessions. So let's say if I reload my ADK, okay, and I restart. So that session won't be available. If I respond or if I go back and ask the question in the same chat, it will give an error. Okay, so I'll ask the question, hi, no response. And in the terminal you will see not found because the session is not available. We are using the in memory. If you need to store your session, there are options available. You can store in the Vertex agent in Vertex agent service. Yeah, so if you go to the sessions and memory, so there are option managing the sessions. So you can manage the session in three options are available. One is database, yeah, session service. In memory, currently which we are using, store all session data directly in application memory. Persistence, no, all conversation data is lost. Then Vertex AI session service, which will store in Vertex AI, and then the third database. Okay, so this is most useful if you manage, if you want to manage the context, then you will use this one. The database service where you have option to connect with your SQL database. So you can connect to your, currently it supports these databases, MySQL, Postgres, Cloud SQL. It does not support the directly, I would say it does not support in the sense natively. You can write your own Python code and you can store your sessions in the other like MongoDB or the data stores as well, but natively it supports relational databases for now. Got your question? Answer, I will say. Hello.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Vishal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So till this point, any doubt? I just don't want to complicate the things going in too deep. But yeah, if you ask me question, I'm definitely going to that level and I'll try to give the answers. So tools are clear. Three types
Yeah.
of tools. Yes, Hira.
Yeah, hi Vishal, thanks for the session.
Your voice is
Vishal,
bit
if you
low.
want to, can I go ahead? Just
Yes,
one
yes, yes.
question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Vishal, if you wanted to execute like a series of activities, like I want to give an instruction to the agent, like shutting down the particular VM, okay, which is on a Google Cloud based.
Hmm.
But it should not directly go and shut down the VM. But there is like a in company usually we have a process defined, like it should create a branch in GitHub and then do it should get the PR approved. It should raise the PR, then PR should be approved in that way, and then execute the Jenkins pipeline, and then it should shut down. Like it is like series of steps, right? A series of instruction that we wanted to execute. So in that case, how we can achieve, what would be the best way to achieve that?
Yeah. So you ask very valid question because whatever we were doing is very basic. And if you're looking for the production grade system, this question is very valid. And that was
Yeah.
our next thing after tools. So when we, okay, one thing is I'll just come to that point in 5 minutes. Okay, Hirala.
Yeah, yes, sure, Vishal. Take your time, no worries.
That is on my list. Yeah, so we are talking about tools. So first we talk about the inbuilt tools. There we covered Google Search and BigQuery. Then with third-party tools where we covered, let's say, Crew AI and LangChain also the same. We can use LangChain. In LangChain, let's say I'm having this Wikipedia agent which will go and check from the Wikipedia and give you the answer. So this is the LangChain also you can easily wrap. There is no much complications needed. So you have to just import, you have to just install the libraries and you can use the LangChain tool also. Okay, that is for LangChain. The third important is a function tool. So in function tool, let's say the example, you can write a Python function. I had to create, let's say the Git repo. I created one agent which will interact with the Git. Okay, so GitHub create repo and GitHub delete repo. So I don't have GitHub API key created for now, but let's say I want to create what we can say the GitHub repo. So I created two tools, GitHub create repo tool and GitHub delete repo tool. I will show you, it will fail, but at least I want to show if it is making the correct tool call. Okay, so let's say agent.py. Let me restart. Okay, so where is our agent? Yeah, so I'll just come back, reload this, and I will go to the GitHub agent. Where is my GitHub agent? What was the, oh, this is the function tool, sorry. The name is function tool. So I'll just ask first question. Hello. Okay, so I can create and delete GitHub repository. Now we have two functions here. One is create repo, one is delete repo. And based on your chat or natural language, it will identify which function to call. So these are nothing but the functions. So if I show you the create repo tool, so this is my one function, which is creating the GitHub repository. Okay, so it is accepting some parameters and it is calling this function. So I'll just show you. Let's say I will ask, I want to create GitHub repo. So I do not have key, but it will ask at least the question and fail while creation. Okay, first I need few details about repository. What do you want the name of the repository? Do you want to add a description? Do you want repository to private or public? So let's say I will give a repo name, test repo. I need public repo. Okay. So it will call a tool, but it will fail. So it is calling and it will fail. So the message is just because I haven't added all the try catch and everything. So the result is null. And if I go to the terminal, let me check if it is unauthorized URL. See, it is unauthorized. There is a error. So it haven't created repository, but the tool call you can see it directly went to the create repo. Now, if I ask, can you delete repo? It will go to the delete repository. Now I am asking the question this repo. Let's see if it will understand. So it will understand this repo in the sense it is in the same conversation history and it is asking the confirmation. So why it is asking the confirmation for deleting? Because I have put that in the instructions. If you see, always confirm with user before deleting the repository as this action is irreversible. And the same it is asking. Please note this action is irreversible. Do you want to proceed? If I say yes, it will call it. It will fail, but it will just call and give the message repository is deleted. Okay. So clear, the function tools is nothing but you can add any Python code and your agent will understand. Now there are two important things how your agent will understand. Okay, so a lot of people ignore this doc strings. Okay, so this doc string, you think it just commented code, but this is very important when it comes to the agentic AI. Your agentic AI will read this doc string also to understand okay which function to call. So from the name, definitely it will understand from the name. But let's say you are giving kind of the ambiguous name, then in that case, it will read for the doc string. So always keep the doc string along with your function tools when you are using the agentic AI. It's any agentic AI, not only the Google Cloud ADK or any agentic AI. So this is for the third type of tool, the function tool. And if you understand when to use which tool, I would say more than 40% of your agentic work is already done because it's just the Python. Everyone knows about Python, everyone knows about Java, everyone knows about how API works. You have to just write the code here and then your agent will intelligently call it. So in agentic AI, first thing is instructions. Always give the proper instruction. And I was showing, I missed that. I was showing here about the instructions. Yeah, so someone asked me about the instruction, right? So these are the tips for effective instruction, right? Clear and specific, use markdown, improve readability, provide example, that is the few shop prompting, guide tool use, explain. Let's say if you are having tool, then just explain when and why the agent should use them. So let's say I am telling, okay, this is example here. If user want to create repository, ask user for a repo details, okay, before creating. So based on your instruction, it will work. So I mean, you will easily get the more details on how should be the instructions. So you are an agent that provide the capital city. As I mentioned, you have to give the task and the persona that you are agent which will work on this task. Then some rules, then some condition, example query, example response. So this will give you the, so in our production grade agent, our instructions are almost 50 or hundreds of lines of instruction just to give the more clarity and more detailed answer. And sometimes we have to use the dynamic instructions also. Let's say user is asking, give me the list of xyz, then it should only give the list, it should not explain. So then the different prompt or different instructions should be used. If user is asking, give me summary of this xyz thing, then there should be a different summarization prompt or summarization, like, what we can say, the instruction should be there. So based on your requirement, you should use the instructions. So whatever currently we are giving the instructions are just for our requirement. In this case, our requirement is not much. So even two-liner instruction will work. But if you're looking for the production grade system, then you need a very detailed instructions. I will show you that demo also. So this is clear on the tool side. Tool is most important part of any agentic framework. If this is clear, I'll go to the next. There I can answer the question asked by Hiralal also, and that is the, again, the next topic we are having. So if clear, I can go next. I hope no one is having doubt till this part. Okay, so now we are done with the tools. Then the next is the agent types. Currently we created an agent, but there are different types of agent, because whenever we create a production grade agent, we don't create just a single agent. There we create a system, and you might have heard about the multi-agent system. So there we need a multi-agent system, that is the combination of different agent. So till now we were using only LLM agent. It means it is connected to your Gemini. But when we need a series of tasks, right? One example here, I'll already given the same example. Let's say if you want to create one repository first, then you have to raise the PR. When PR is approved, then you have to like write a code or deploy the code. That kind of series of operation you have to do. You need a multi-agent system. There you need a sub-agent. So your agent is always invoked by your base agent, but it can be extended by, there are three types of agent. Okay, one is LLM agent, second workflow agent, and then the custom agent. So forget about custom agent. It is very complex thing until and unless required. And Google also recommend, if your thing is not done by workflow agent and LLM agent, then only go your custom agent. So custom agent is just writing your own Python class, and Google has provided example also, so you can write it. But most of your work can be done using the workflow agent and LLM agent. So what is the difference between LLM agent and workflow agent? LLM agent, definitely whatever we use till now, these are the default one. This like backed by your LLM models, these are LLM agent, like it is having some already trained on the LLM data. Workflow agent, this does not have the intelligence, but it is kind of the workflow based. So in workflow base, we are having three types. One is sequential. So for the question recently asked by Hiralal, there you need a sequential agent. Let's say you will get an input, or just, okay, create or deploy some application for me. Your sub agent first will create repo. Your sub agent two, let's say, will get a PR approved or create a PR and then deploy, and then will be a final. So your second agent will always dependent on first agent, and it can also use the output of first agent to do the operation. Let's say your PR is not approved and you want to skip agent 2, you can skip it. If your PR is approved and that output you want to use and then only deploy, then you can do that also. So this is the sequential agent use case. Then the loop agent, and then the parallel agent. Loop agent, I will give example. I have created one cloud architecture agent. You will give one requirement. Okay, I want to deploy 3-tier application on Google Cloud. So it will create the architecture for you. Okay, first agent. Second agent will see if this architecture is correct, or it will create a review. If you give any feedback, okay, you still need some modification, it will use that feedback, and again it will create a new architecture. So till the time feedback is received, it will create your architecture again and again. And if, let's say, your refiner or review agent find, okay, now this is the perfect, then it will stop the loop. Okay, so you can give the max iteration, you can give the loop. So this is the loop agent. And the parallel agent, let's say you want to independent operations you have to follow. So one example I will give, let's say I'm the content creator agent and I want to create content ideas for Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. So there is no dependency between them. My one agent can give ideas on LinkedIn post, one agent can give ideas on YouTube post, and one can give for Instagram post. So these three can be run parallelly, and there will be three different output. These are not dependent on each other. But here your agent one data cannot be accessed by agent two data cannot be accessed by agent three. So these are independent. Here data can be accessed because these are parent child relationship. Here is also the parent child relationship. These will be independent. So the workflow agent require when you create a multi-agent system. I will show you the demo so it will be more clear. So I have two agent. Let's say talk about job search agent. Okay. So I have created one agent. Let's say I want to search for a job or I want to prepare for any job interview. So I have created one agent. What it will do? So it will check open position. So let's say if you are not giving LLM, by default, if you are, let's say in your previous example, I just mentioned agent. So if you talk about agent, by default it is LLM agent. Okay. So either it is LLM or just agent. So by default it is LLM agent. So this agent, first agent will find open positions. What are the open positions available on internet? It will find it. I am using open position and now I will store. So output key is equal to open position. It means I am storing in a variable. I am storing in output key variable. I am storing open position. Now my second agent will use this open position, and what I am giving, you are an interview coach for the given query and referring to the job positions. Create 5 common interview question with the strong sample answer. Now it will give me the output in this format, question and answer. And this output I am storing in a interview QA. Now I have output from agent one, I have output from agent two, and third is my interview tips agent. Now this is LLM agent. What it is doing, I am using open position, interview questions, and I am asking give me the interview tips, how to research the company, how to prepare technically, behavioral interview strategies, body language. So this random things I'm asked, output as a bulleted list, and this I'm storing as a interview tips. And this is my main agent, root agent. So whenever you ask any query, it always go to the root agents, and there always should be one root agent. Without that it will not work properly. So first query will go to root agent. Root agent is interview prep pipeline, and this is, as I mentioned, workflow agent. You don't see any LLM here because it does not have a reasoning capacity. It is just sequential agent which execute this sub agent sequentially. First this, then this, then this. Okay. So this is how it will work. So if I run this agent and show you how it can be created, and I think this will answer your questions as well, Hirala. So if I reload this and I will go to the job search agent. Okay. So I'll just ask the question. Hello, can you help me to prepare Google Cloud data engineer role? Now let's say I will tell you, if you are not giving the context clearly, let's say I'm not putting I am looking job in India, it can search across the globe. It will give the roles from London, it will give from the UK, US, everywhere. So you have to ask a proper question while interacting with any UI. So let's say I haven't given the country or location. So let's say which first it will find the open position. Okay, you can see the open position from Atlanta, Hyderabad, Chicago. So this is the real time. Okay, it is finding the open position first. If I click here, the first agent, open position agent, and where it's stored. So you will see a response here. The Pallav question is about the locations. So location is here, US Central one, Google Cloud location. I defined as a US Central one.
Why did you define that? Is it
Okay.
mandatory to provide US Central, or
This is
I
for
can
your
give?
LLM model. This is for, if I show you here, LLM model call. So you will see which region it is calling. because it will use LLM or Gemini from US Central one. This is for your LLM.
No, what I mean that can we provide US East one as well, or US Central one is the one that we need to
No,
use?
no, no, no. You can provide any region where the your Gemini 2.5 is available.
Oh,
This model.
okay, got you, got you, got you, got you.
So
Yep,
let's
thanks.
go here. Yeah. So now you can see the first response. It first got the open job position. This is from first agent. Okay. And it stored output in a state. This is again the context, how to manage the context. So I stored the first output of agent in open position variable at the state. Okay. The second output, interview question. So it is asking the common interview question about describe the time you had designed a complex scalable data pipeline on Google Cloud. What service did you use and why? So it is kind of scenario based question, and it stored this interview question answer in the second state, second variable interview. And let's say the third one. What is the third agent given the tips? Yeah. So in the bulleted point, it gives the team how the research for a company, how to do technical preparation, behavioral strategy, and communication. Why this last answer is short? Because we clearly mentioned keep the answer in, let's say, 250 words or something. Yeah, 200 words. That's why the last answer is short. So you can decide. Let's say if you want whole report on interview preparation, you can get whole report of interview preparation, and this is how the sequentially you can do with a multi-agent system. Now there is a common confusion. Let's say if you need 10 agent, it means you need something big. No, it is just like having the multiple function. If you are creating multiple sub agent, there is no harm. You can go and create 2 agent, 3 agent, 5 agent, but you have to make sure you are managing the context properly. Let's say your second agent can read the first agent output, your combine all the agents can read each of their outputs, and that's why I'm storing it in the output key, that is called your state. So in state you have to store all this data. Got it clear? Hirala, you got your questions?
Yes, 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 sure. Yeah.
Anyone else having any question? Okay, so same thing for workflow agent. uh, Same thing for workflow agent and the parallel agent. So we are having one loop agent. I will show for that architecture agent as well. Let me just uncomment the file. Let's say .env. I'll uncomment, and same for the content creation agent. So I think here I have given the good prompt. Let me check. So more, you can see the more complex use case I am doing, I have increased the instructions. So now it is having, let's say, 3-liner, 4-liner instructions. So give the idea for blog outline, give the idea for YouTube descriptions or YouTube content strategies. Then this is for Instagram hook lines, quick script, and this is the parallel agent. So it does not impact, or there is no way to interact with another agent, or don't need to interact with another agent. I'll show you both the agent, parallel and loop agent.
Vishal, sorry to jump in again. So,
Yeah,
in my question, I was trying to understand whether, for the GitHub, you have already explained, we
yeah.
can use the libraries or the services. So, similar way, if any production grade project required different services like Jenkins, Sonar, Cube, like those kind of which is getting used in the real life project. So all those libraries and everything will be available in the documentation how to use it and use it in the agent.
So nowadays, let's say here I created one important thing. Now we will come back to the MCP server. Before that, let's say here I created the Git, right? Yeah. So here I created my own code to create Git repository, right? But now what? Just
Yep.
like API, just like API, all companies what they are doing, they are releasing their own MCP server. Now MCP server, it means the code is readily created by GitHub. Okay, if you check the GitHub MCP server. Okay, and just like inbuilt tools, for inbuilt tools, if you remember, for Google search, we haven't written any code. We just used it as it is,
Yes.
right?
Yeah,
So
correct, correct, correct.
GitHub released their MCP server. You can see remote GitHub MCP server. So their code is already available. You have to directly use their tools. So what tools they are available? So tool configuration and tool set. So there are repos tools is available.
Okay, pull request and everything. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, everything you can readily use. So you don't need to write code. You can see, let's say repository is related, create
Mm.
branch already available, create update file already available, create repository already available.
Okay. Okay.
All tools. So companies nowadays are releasing their MCP servers just like releasing their APIs. So you can directly use it in your LLM agent. You don't need to write your own code because GitHub is something is common. And if you talk about production grade agent, a lot of companies will look forward to integrate with the GitHub. So they want, okay, everyone should not write their like multiple copies of code. We will create a
Correct.
standard
Correct.
code and you use our MCP servers. So now that's
Oh,
how MCP servers concept is coming in. That companies will create their MCP servers and we will import or we will just call that tools.
okay. Okay.
Same
Okay.
happens. So I mean, if you talk about MCP available MCP servers, you will see for a lot of tech stack now. So not sure about the Jenkins, but there are MCP servers. You can see for MongoDB is also there. I mean, a lot of MCP servers, Figma also there. You can easily connect to any of these third-party
Mm-hmm.
solutions.
Mm. Okay. Okay.
Try to be authenticate MCP servers which provided by the vendors.
Okay. Fine.
So there is one official repository by Anthropic. So there you will get the officials one. Yeah, here. So you will see mostly AWS related, GitHub related, GitLab also having MCP servers, Google Drive, Google Map, Postgres, and then third party. So you can easily connect to all these third party services without writing your own code, but you have to just configure in your agent how to use that, and you will get that documentation also.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir. Got it. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, thanks for picking this point. So anyone else having any doubt? I'll just was showing about the parallel agent and content creation agent. Let's say this is my content creation agent, and I'm asking, help me with content creation ideas on topic. It's the future of AI. Okay, so now it should call three tools parallelly: Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Sorry, not tools, agent. So each agent will do research on a particular domain and it will give me the response. And you will easily see the response. Let's say this response is from YouTube agent. So it has given video script, catchy title, the mind-blowing prediction you won't believe. So okay, this is, let's say, for Instagram. The response is from Instagram. So it has given the content idea for Instagram. And then this is from blog. So it has given the blog idea completely. So you can restrict, let's say, if you want in 100 line, if you want 2 line, you can just restrict the response in, let's say, in the content creation agent, I will go and add in the blog agent, keep the response limited to 50, not 50 or 100 words in bullet points. Okay, so I updated the prompt, then the response structure will change. It will not give the very big blog. Instead, it will just follow the prompt and I'll, let's say, ask the same question. Now these tools are called parallelly. There is no dependency between them. If you see here, yeah, there is no dependency. These are called parallelly, but still I am storing the output. Let's say I want to do some filtration after that, or I want to reduce the output. I want to change something. So I am just storing it because this is useful when you display on UI. This is just the backend. Whatever ADK provide is just backend, and Google just for the development provide the UI, but you have to develop your own UI or a front end to interact with your agent. So we got SEO friendly. Let's say for blog. Yeah, so you can see now the blog outline is just within the 100 words and in the bulleted point. So you can restrict how much output you want, because the cost of your LLM is depend on how much input and output you are giving. So if you check here, the LLM response, there is a tokens, and based on the token, your cost is decided. Total token count, candidate token, token count. So based on your response and the token count, there will be a cost of your Gemini or any model you will use. So this is about the parallel agent, and last I will quickly show is workflow agent, how it will run in a loop. Was architect agent, I think, yeah. Help me to create architecture for 3-tier web app on cloud. Okay, so just one liner and it will create architecture for me. But this is a loop agent. So first agent will create architecture. Second is kind of senior, which will review the architecture, give the feedback. Now it created architecture. It given ALB, Azure, everything. Now second will give the feedback that okay, use only Google Cloud Services. Okay, now it is mentioning no major issues found. So it found architecture is good. It gave the comment, no major issues found, critic agent, and it exited the loop. So if it is having some recommendation, it will keep looping into the system. Okay, so this is how the loop agent will work, and it will keep looping until there is a no major issues found response, and that also we have defined. So I just the flow perspective, I haven't customized it, but I just okay, completion phrase. If the completion phrase is no major issues found, then exit the loop. So you can design based on your flow. This is for the workflow agent, loop agent. So how you define loop agent? So first there is a sequential, and then you will find loop agent, and max iteration 5. Let's say every time it is giving some feedback, it might go in infinite loop. So just go max 5 iteration. After that, whatever the final output, just give it to the users. So this is for the loop agent. So clear this point, how we can use this workflow agent. This is mainly used for uh, the multi-agent system when we want to perform the sequential task or parallel task or multiple tasks. You can use the multiple uh, agent using the workflow agent. So main thing is between the LLM agent and workflow agent. LLM agent have your model, which is having some, let's say we can say some brain, but your workflow agent are rule based. It will decide based on the sub agent given or the loop agent. It will decide what to run. Okay. So let me know any doubt, else I'll just move ahead. We still have 20 minutes and we can cover MCP also. Clear till this point? See, I am covering because 2 hours it's not feasible to cover all, but yeah, I put all detailed video on each of this topic also on YouTube. You can check it, but I'll try to cover most of the things in today's workshop. So let's say now we talk about MCP. So anyone used MCP or using MCP or ADK currently? Okay, will you know? So let's say what is MCP? Yes, Picasso.
Yeah, as I said earlier, I'm using the MCP toolbox for databases,
Okay, along with which database?
BigQuery and Postgres.
Okay. Okay, so basically this MCP server, as I mentioned, are used to connect to the external system just like a tool, but instead of keep your tool repetitive, you can directly use external MCP servers. I example one I given is for the GitHub. Let's say your whole organization is having 100 agents and you are using the Git along with the each agent, then you don't need to rewrite the tools code again and again. So in the same multi-agent system, you can import it or you can use it as a module. But let's say if you're having different multi-agent system across the organization, then there is no point in writing the code again and again and everyone will follow the different coding practice. Instead, you can use readily available MCP servers. MCP servers is nothing but, as I mentioned, it is the way how you can your LLM can talk to the external system. So it is like developed by initially open source by Anthropic, and which also having their cloud desktop. And you can, the cloud desktop is having the most flexibility with the MCP servers. Even with the cloud desktop, you can configure MCP servers. And MCP servers, as I mentioned, expose resources and tools, while MCP is a client and consume as a offering. LLM will use that resources and MCP is expose that resources. So it can be your database, it can be your application, it can be application like GitHub, or database like BigQuery, Oracle, or MySQL, PostgreSQL. And just a simple representation. So you will have your LLM model, and MCP will help you to connect to the external world using the common protocol. So your LLM can understand, and your external system also can understand that protocol. So in simple language, I mean, the world might feel difficult, but the concept is very simple. You use MCP to give access to the external world to your LLM model. Okay, we'll see some example and demo. So let's say model context protocol, the world is feels heavy. So model is nothing but your Gemini. Context is the external information which LLM required. And let's say the protocol is standardized set of rules. So that is your whole model context protocol world is formed. But let's say, the coming back to the question, let's say I will ask Gemini to get some data from my BigQuery. So your model is there, it can understand okay how to query the BigQuery, but it won't have context that what are your BigQuery tables or what is your database. So you have to give that context. That's why the name is context, where you will provide some external information which is related to only you. And it's not like the LLM can access on the internet, or LLM can have a trend on the data. So that is the context you have to provide. So the currently the more popular, I can say, is the MCP toolbox for database, where you can connect your agent to all this database, and it can kind of in getting insight using your LLM. So you can connect to this MCP toolbox for a database is one of the open source tool which can use to connect to your all these databases. You can see Bigtable, BigQuery, Memory Store, MongoDB, and your agent can get the data and give you the insight based on this database. I will show you one example with this toolbox. So there is one site for this one which having the detailed documentation. This is the repository for MCP toolbox for database, and this is their whole documentation which database you can connect to. So the sources you can see LYDB, BigQuery, all these sources are available, and how to configure the sources, the files are available, and once configure, how to connect to the tool. So that is also available here. Okay, I use this only for creating my MCP servers or tools. Okay, so you can connect to GitHub, Google Maps, Grafana, Figma. They all are having their MCP servers now. These are few examples, but as we see, AWS is released their MCP servers. Google Cloud Run is having MCP servers. Even the stock markets brokers, stock brokers like Zerodha release their MCP servers, so you can get insight on your stock portfolio using the MCP servers. So this is kind of the new version of your APIs. So in upcoming days, the MCPs will be very popular. You can directly connect to your agents. So I'll give again the example. Let's say I'm asked the question that, okay, can you give me the best cafes near me? My location is Koregaon Park, Pune. So it does not have the real-time access to the business or hotel or which are open currently. So because it understand it is having that location data as on the general internet, but there is no Google Map access directly. So let's say if I give an access using the Google Maps MCP servers, so it will give me these answers. So I just created an agent with the Google Maps MCP servers, and it is easily get me the real-time directions or real-time the information about the cafe or nearest cafe using the MCP servers. Okay, I will show you with Google Maps, which is readily available, and also with MCP toolbox for database, which we have to configure and create. So different versions which you can readily available, you can use as it is by configuring into agents, and one for database based on your use case you will create it. Okay, so first thing, why we need MCP, that I already covered. When you have agent A, agent B, and multiple agents, so instead of creating the repetitive code for each agent, you can just create one MCP servers and expose all tools. Yes, Hirala, and then you can use along with the all this agent.
Yeah, this also does it. This MCP server stores the data as well. Like whenever it will retrieve the data, suppose it is accessing the BigQuery's data or table, right?
Mhm.
It is storing that data in server, or it is
No,
just
no, it just
directly.
create client, it just create kind of connection between, you can correlate easily just like API. You use API to
Oh,
get request response, right? You do
yeah,
the
yeah.
request API and get response. Same
Okay,
way, MCP just to facilitate connection between your agent and your data source. It can be database or application like GitHub. It is just facilitate that connections.
yeah. So why I was asking is like for the financial institute like banks and all, the data is very crucial, right? And they cannot
Yes.
share the data to any third party agents or anywhere, right? And so for that purpose, I was asking, referring whether have you seen any example in real world whether uh, financial services they are using this kind of MCP servers for their production grade applications, or it is yet to evolve in that front?
Yeah, so the financial services, I work with the few banking client in UK. They are using MCP servers for their databases which are available on Google Cloud. Let's say the BigQuery or Bigtable. So while working with AI, you always take care there is no sensitive data in a request as well as there is no sensitive data in the response. That you have to take care,
Okay.
even though not MCP servers, right? Even with the LLM or Agentic AI. That first thing, and for there you can use a lot of there are a lot of techniques where you can inspect the request also if it is sending any data, or you can inspect the response also if it is giving back some sensitive data. But if you talk about MCP server, so it doesn't store any data, and these are mostly the stateless, right? You create connection, you do some operation, and you close the connection.
um, Close the class. Okay.
Yeah, because it create a client for each of these agent. So let's say MCP server is common. So there is, I will go if required more deep. Just to ask a question, I hidden this slide. So how this actually work? So let's say if you are MCP servers, so this is your MCP host. So here one more important thing, if you are creating your own MCP server, you have to host it somewhere. You can host it on Cloud Run, you can host it on any virtual machine. So you have to host your MCP servers, okay? And then this MCP servers, your ADK, there is agent one. So it will create one request to the client one. It will request some data, then it will choose a correct tools, and from that tool it will connect to database and get the response back. So here how it work, MCP servers is, host is where your AI app is there, okay? This is your host. MCP servers, which provides you the MCP servers and tools access, I mean the external system access. This is your MCP servers. And client, that connect your host and server, that is your client, and the client work is to send the request and get the response. So this is how the basic functionality. So there it can be a database connection. Here it can be API in terms of Google Maps, but it will use, this also will use some mechanism to connect to your external system. But for your model, you don't need to worry. Is it connection or API? You will always use MCP protocol.
Mm. Okay, Vishal. Yeah, got it. Thank you.
Yeah. And if I go back to one, let me check if I have MCP demos. I have Google Maps example. If I need to change this also. Yeah, so I think I deleted the Google Maps API key. Let's try it though. If it is active, it will work. I don't think API key is available, but yeah, I will first show you how I configured the Maps MCP servers. Okay, so I'll go back one step back again. How to configure any MCP servers, right? So if you go to the, yeah, so if you go to this main documentation, right, model context protocol, let's say you want to connect with a Google Maps. So just click on Google Maps and here it will show how to connect. If you scroll down, it will show how to connect. If you are using Docker, how to connect, or what are the commands. If you are using just Node, how to connect, what are the command you need to run. So I am using npx. So if you see my agent code, so npx and the environment variable, same thing I'm using, nothing else. Model context protocol, server Google Maps. Okay, so just tools, in tools you have to write MCP toolset and you have to import MCP toolset from ADK tools. Okay, only these things will be your additional configuration, and that also you will easily get in the documentation. Okay, so this will help you to create your MCP servers. And let's say in Google server maps there are multiple tools, because this is tool set. So in Google Maps also there are 6 tools, I believe, 7. One is to get map geocode, maps reverse geocode, map search spaces. So let's say you want to use, or you want to expose only 2 tools to the users, you can add a filters also. So I currently commented the filters. Yes, Pallo.
Uh, you said that we need to host the MCP server somewhere.
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
for the MCP, this map, the Google map that you were using, did you need to host it anywhere or
I am hosting on the same server. Wherever you see the studio connection, right?
okay?
STD, standard input output. So what it will do while running my agent, it will run my MCP servers on the same machine.
Oh,
I will
okay.
show. So it will host on the same machine. So let's say if I run it again, only error I will get for the API key.
But could you containerize that and run it on Cloud Run or something like that?
Yes, yes, yes. We can containerize, and that is the best practice actually. Even for the MCP toolbox for database, you have to containerize and run on the Cloud Run. And then, so if you see the last year deployment is there using the Cloud Run. So we deployed it on the Cloud Run itself.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, deploy to Cloud Run, or you can deploy to Docker Compose or Kubernetes. So there are readily available Docker image you have to use, but only you will pass the tools file. If you see here, you will put your tools file in a secret, and then you just pass. The Docker image is common because this toolbox is a common, which is already built Docker images available. So you can use the Docker image, but you will just pass your tools file.
Uh, is there a specific format that I need to follow for creating the tools file,
Yeah, yeah.
tools.yaml?
Yes, yes, I will come back to that. Yeah.
Okay.
So this is for, let's say, the readily available. I'm still in a first point where 2 types of MCP server which are readily available, open source. That is just like Google Maps. I'm using that using just few commands. I'll like, so I'm just kind of importing the readily available from GitHub, and I'm running it locally. Okay. So if I go to the agent and ask some question on the MCP, so I think it will fail because I do not have maps API key now. But now you will see it will start your MCP server. Yeah, so this is about MCP server.
Okay, so the toolset, MCP toolset is hosting the server within the agent itself, is it?
Yes, yes, yes. On the same server where your agent is running. If you are giving in the this format, like inbuilt format, MCP toolset here itself.
Okay.
So
Okay.
there is the command also to start the MCP where our agent started. I'm just trying to find Google Maps agent loader, Maps agent. You can see Google Maps MCP server running in studio mode. It started MCP server locally here.
Okay.
And if I ask question, but it is API key is not there, I'll ask help me to find nearby cafe in Pune, Cambodia. It will call tool, but it will fail, I believe. It is calling, it got response. Yeah, this API project, I'm sorry, unable to find cafes. API seems experiencing issue. So there is actually the API key is expired. So error you will see here somewhere. I think in response it's handled the errors. Here you will see the response. Geocoding failed. This API project was not found. So API key is expired, but then it will call any of these API tools because these we exported whole MCP tool set from the readily available MCP servers. So we haven't written any Python code which will connect with the Google Maps API, which are using readily using the existing MCP servers.
Got you.
Okay, now we'll come to the MCP servers where we have to build our own MCP servers. So let me just open new folder. So there are MCP agent. Just give me a minute. Yeah. Okay, so now let's say this is my agent which is connected to the BigQuery. And the file, right? So how to use this MCP toolbox for a database? So first you have to download the toolbox file. So this is the important thing. So let's say toolbox UI. So you have to download the toolbox file. Okay. So I have already downloaded the toolbox file. Yeah, so toolbox file is there. So there is a curl command given in the documentation to download the toolbox file. Yeah, so you can use this curl command to download the toolbox file based on your version, Linux or Mac OS or Windows. Once you have your toolbox file, then you create tools.yaml. So toolbox file is common for all. Based on your requirement, you will create your toolbox tools.yaml file. But let's say we're talking about BigQuery. So where is BigQuery? Yeah. So this is the format for BigQuery to write a toolbox YAML. So first you will write a source. So you can write like kind BigQuery project ID, and then let's say which authentication you are using. If you're not giving anything, it will use the default one. If you want service account, you can give service account. And the main is tools. How you will write a tools? So you will write, let's say the BigQuery SQL tools. You will write a queries here. So you might feel okay, we are writing hard coded queries, then why we need MCP? But it will give the insight from the data. I will show the example that will be. So here I need to run MCP server first. So I'll go to MCP toolbox. I will start my MCP servers. Okay, so how to start it? So there is a command with toolbox. I'll just go to the toolbox UI and with the toolbox file. So there are command. Yeah. So how to start toolbox.yaml. I am first starting my toolbox. So my MCP server started. And let's say first check with the UI also. So you can check with MCP toolbox is having UI. Okay, so UI is running. So I'll just open. Okay, so this is my tools. So let's say search employees by country. So these two tools I am available in my MCP. Search employees by ID. Okay, so let's say I do not have any ID, but let me just get any ID. I'll just get one employee ID from here. So I can just check MCP server is working correctly. 118. I'll just get 118. And if I test this 118 run a tool, so it is giving me information for this employee. And let's say I want search employee by country. I will let's say India. I want all employee from India running tool. So for example, I have just created two tools, but how we can use this, I will show you. So if I go to the tools.yaml file, so this is how I have given kind BigQuery, my project name. And then I have created two tools, search employees by ID. Let's say HR wants to get all details about particular employee ID. It will just pass employee ID in the chat, and it will get all the response about that employee. And it can ask the question, right? Okay, what is the salary, or what is the joining date of employee? So this is the tools configuration from here. This is the source configuration. Okay, so this is one time in file. Then tools, there can be multiple tools. First tool is search employee by ID. Second tool is search employee by country. And parameter what are required here, you need employee ID parameter in integer type. Here you need country parameter in string type. Okay, so I'm just giving the description and example here so your LLM can understand. And you are exposing this. Yes, Pallu.
Any place where we define the output that this should be the output?
No, yeah, because it will get data from database, no? So if you want some, let's say, kind of validation, you can put in the callbacks. Let's say at least check the count and then only give the response or something. But here it
Okay.
is just will define tools.yaml, and let's say I am exposing this tool set now, and I'm running as a server. But how I will use that? Let's say my MCP server is deployed as independently. Now, how my HR agent will use? So currently it is running locally on 5000 port. So I am given toolbox sync client, this URL. Let's say you are deployed on Cloud Run, you can give Cloud Run URL. Okay. And now this is your tools, toolbox.load toolset, GCP BQ employee. Where this name coming from? So GCP BQ employee we define here. GCP BQ employee. This is our toolset name. So this we are using here. Now what your agent is using, tools is equal to tools. It means it is using all these two tools. And I have given some instruction: use search user by ID when it is asking about employee ID, use search users by country for country based queries. Okay, just to get respond clearly and concisely, no SQL, no tool names, no, just insight. And response will be in the natural language. Now my MCP server is running. I'll run now agent also. Let me reload this. Select agent, HR agent. Okay, I'll just ask uh, which tools do you have access to. Okay, I can search for employee information by country and by employee ID. Now I will. Can you tell me salary for employee with employee ID 118? Now it will tell me the salary, even though we have given the hard-coded queries. You can see it went to this function correctly. And employee ID 118, Mike Johnson is accountant in the finance department located in Australia. Their annual salary is this one. So this is how MCP servers are useful while connecting or getting data inside. Now let's say I will ask, give me all employees based out of India. So it will call this function. Now you can see, now it went to this function. And response, you will see response is your whole, I mean the response data is not a natural language response, it is your result, which is your BigQuery query result, but it converts into the natural language. You see the output, it will not be exactly like this. See, it given very structured output. Here is the list of employees based out of India, including their ID, department, first name, last name. So these are finance department employee, these are marketing department employee, these are, let's say, support department, engineering department, and design department. Now, someone asked the question on the restriction. So we can create callback on how we can restrict that. Let's say if Vishal, I am the head of finance department, I am asking this question, I should get only this response. But let's say someone from another marketing department asking the same question, he should get only this response. So that kind of guardrail also we can use using the callbacks. In callbacks, let's say we will put, once we get this output, okay, once we get this output, then there will be a callback function which will filter based on my department, and then you will get only the particular output. So let's say if you want to do some processing again on this tools output, so this is your tools output. If I clicked here, you will see this is my tools output. If I click here, this is my request, this is response. If you want to do something on this response and then give output, you can do that also using the callbacks. So this is how MCP works, and this also code I have published in GitHub, and video is also there. Let's see if you want to dig more. I have put very basic conceptual all the code samples. These are not production grade, but whole concepts are production grade. How to do based on your requirement, you can just customize it. So clear on this one? Any doubt? Anyone? No, I think then yeah, we have covered everything from agent framework, then the agent tools, agent types, all types of agent, workflow agent, parallel, sequential, loop agent, and then MCP. We saw example of inbuilt MCP servers, I mean pre-built MCP server Google Map, and also with the how to create MCP servers with BigQuery. Or you can ping me later also. Let's see if you are building something and you are stuck somewhere, you can always ping me on WhatsApp, so we can find the mutual available time and we can connect and work on that.
Hi Vishal.
Yes.
Sorry, come again. Yeah, Vishal, for the again for the like majorly uh, means from the financial institute point of view, have you seen any example where they are developing their own MCP servers, or like they are using it frequently, means whatever is available for the
So,
resources?
okay, so where they want to connect? First thing, where they want to connect in BigQuery, or they want to connect some external system like Google Maps or GitHub.
Uh, Kind of both, Vishal.
So, I mean, they can use readily available server. GitHub also they can use, because if it is released by GitHub, not some random person who is doing open source, so they can
Okay.
readily use. There are some MCP servers who are just like contributed from open source contributor. So that is not recommended to use unless these are tested by some institutions.
Okay. Okay. Means it's still advisable, right? We can use
Yes,
it.
yes, it always first
Right.
priority is always on the legitimate MCP servers who
Hmm.
are provided by, I mean, the own vendors like GitHub releasing their own, Google releasing their own, not the open source contribution.
Hmm.
That will help.
Okay.
Okay, I'll just stop the recording. If anyone having any doubt, we can continue, else we can drop.